This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? I'm back for another episode of the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today is MMA fighter Jesse James Kosakowski, who is currently 3-0. Jesse, how's it going?
It's going great, man. Just waking up, having my morning coffee.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on.
That's the ritual every morning.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, no problem, man.
So let's just jump right into it. How did you get into mixed martial arts?
I started mixed martial arts when I was very little. Most people, start out, 5, 6 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. I started when I was little, like real little. I was like 4 years old. I was blessed to have my father. He started martial arts back in like the 1960s. So I just been working with him since I was little, and now I've just taken it to a whole new level. Now I'm 3-0. I went 5-0 as an amateur, and here we are. Just took it from, the very bottom and just brought it to the top.
Yeah, definitely. I think once you get bigger and bigger, I think that's going to be the intriguing story that your father been in the game for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And what age did you know, like, you wanted to go pro, and like when did you know you were like good enough to like be pro?
So everybody has the stories of this. I want to do this. I did want to do those things when I was very small. But I would say it wasn't until I really started, competing when I was like age 8. I went to my first tournament and I went home. I didn't take first. I actually took a third place trophy home and a fourth place trophy home. I went to this Dragon Slayer tournament. And ever since I competed that first day, I was just hooked. I was like, damn, I need to compete all the time. I just wanted to compete. I remember that by age 10, I won my first tournament, and that's when I was like, yeah, like I knew where I was at. I was like, I could definitely do this, And then I remember I went home that day, and they had I believe it was Kimball Slice versus Ken Shamrock on TV, and that was like a long time ago, but it was a big fight for the time. It was kind of like, not equal to, but, it was kind of like McGregor versus Aldo or something, Everybody was watching it. If you were an MMA fan, you were watching it. And I remember watching that, and I was like, I knew if I got older, I was like, I could be somebody like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I was just like, I want to stay with this. So when I started competing in the amateurs, as I was going 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, I just knew, I'm going pro. I'm going all the way with this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and like you said, you went 5-0 as an amateur, and then what was the moment like you and your team decided like it was time to go pro?
After my Pat Casey fight, it was a big lead up to the fight. I had a lot of people don't know what happens behind the scenes, but I had a lot of injuries throughout my amateur career. I had a lot of people that pulled out when I wasn't injured. I even caught the fucking mumps, of all things. I thought it was eradicated in the 1970s, but I caught the mumps. That prevented me from fighting one time. I believe it was June of 2017. So I couldn't fight so many different times. Yeah. And I was just like, you know what? This probably doesn't even happen in the pro games. And I knew I was already at that level. I've gone to other gyms, and I was competing, very well, if not beating pro fighters. You know what I mean? So I was like, let's go pro.
Gotcha.
Take it to the next level.
Yeah, I remember when you got the mums, and I was like, what the hell? Like, it's like an old sickness.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't understand. I even got vaccinated and everything for it, but sometimes I guess the doctor said it could still slip through.
Yeah. Yeah, then going into your first pro fight, what was that experience like?
It was a good experience, It was cool because, I went out there. It was on like a stage that I fought on before, so it wasn't like it was really like any different than any other of my fights. I fought at Mohegan Sun multiple times. I had already been there, so I was like, I've been there, done that. I just went out there and did what I was doing throughout my amateur career, go out there, and I actually won with one of the same moves that I won with, I believe, in my previous amateur fights, too. I won with a shoulder lock from Jessica Tommy, so it was all very familiar to me. It wasn't like I was in like a different environment or anything, but I knew right there, I was just like, yeah, let's keep it going, let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, definitely. Now, could you explain to me like what your specialty is like in mixed martial arts?
I would say my specialty is mixed martial arts, just being, a well-rounded fighter. There's a lot of fighters that, they're good in one area, they're good in this area. I consider myself to be a complete, mixed martial artist. Like I'm good with my striking. I'm good on the ground. I've won. If you look at my topology, I've won all of my fights. by submission. So I'd say I'm obviously, more attuned to the grappling, but I wouldn't consider myself just a grappler, though. It's not like I'm not like a Damian Maia who's going to go out there and, just try to take you to the ground. You know what I mean? I'm everywhere. I work every day. I work my striking probably twice as hard as my ground game. I've just been doing ground so long. I've been training in grappling tournaments. I've been doing grappling tournaments since I was, 8 years old. So when you're doing grappling tournaments since you've been 8 years old, it's just kind of like ingrained in your system.
Yeah. See, when I first discovered you, I thought you were going to be like a big striker just because you're like big.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw like your style and I was like, wow, this guy's like super technical. Like it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that, my man.
So your last fight was on Bellator 216. And then I know that was still at Mohegan, but what was it like different from the other pro fights?
Now the Bellator fight was different. I felt different under the lights. I felt like I was more. I don't know. I just felt like a different person. Like I was in there for like a greater purpose than I was in my previous fights actually. Because I had fought at Mohegan some before, but some about those lights at Bellator, I just felt like I was there for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I liked it. I loved the experience. The crowd was crazy. The noises, everything. I just really took it in, and I enjoyed it while I was doing it. I would say, compared to my Mohegan experiences with reality fighting, it was definitely a much bigger moment for me. I would say it was probably the biggest moment in my career.
Yeah, for sure. Can you take me like through that fight and like how you got the rear naked chokehold to finish him?
Yeah, so everybody was telling me that this Rodolfo Rocha guy, they were saying that he was going to come out swinging. He's got a hard right hand. He lets his shots go. So I get out there expecting. I was keeping nice, long, rangy. I was keeping my distance. My lead hand, my lead foot was right there, ready to counter. And he wasn't throwing nothing. I'm like, dude, he's doing the opposite of what I was training for this whole camp. And then I was just like, all right, I'm going to make things happen. Start popping my jab out there, land the jab, land the side kick, moving around. All of a sudden I saw the takedown. I was like, I'm going to take him down. Took him down, boom. And a lot of people were like, why is he taking down a BJJ black belt? But I know where my level's at with who I was training with throughout that camp. I was training with black belts, brown belts, everything throughout that whole camp anyway. So I already knew it. I already knew I was ready for a BJJ black belt one in there. I wouldn't take a fight if I knew I couldn't handle it anyways. But I was in there fighting him, and I remember in the second round I landed a huge elbow. That huge elbow opened him up, and that's basically what allowed me to slip in the rear naked choke.
Yeah, definitely. And like I saw on Twitter, you went a little viral on there. And was there anything that stood out to you, like anybody that reached out or anything?
Not in particular. I'm just happy that I was able to get the experience.
Yeah.
I would actually went along with going into Bellator, but the contract deals that they had, I just didn't want to take that. I felt that the best move was to go over to CES for May 31st because it just seemed to have more opportunities. I'm looking even bigger than Bellator now. I'm looking at the UFC, the big stage. But once I win this fight, go into the big stages.
Yeah.
I'm thinking UFC Contender Series.
Yeah, definitely. Like going into a fight, do you look up film on your opponents?
Yes. I don't really hide when I look at film. It would be stupid of somebody not to look at film. If you gotta know what the opponent's bringing to the table. Now I don't sit there, and study film all day long or anything like that. I look at it, I see his habits. I see his habits, whether they're good or bad. And then I train throughout camp, based off of what the other opponent's doing. At the same time, I'm not always focused on that they're gonna do that specific thing. Look at my last fight. The guy I expected to come out aggressively. He was staying back like he didn't want to engage with the striking and he didn't want to engage with the grappling, So you really can't trust film at the end of the day. Opponent could change up their whole style. Yeah. I've had that happen actually a couple times where I've studied an opponent and he was crazy, crazy wild. All of a sudden he goes in there and, and he's tight, he's technical, he's punching around the pipe. That's why you should always be sparring with different bodies in the gym, getting different looks and getting looks whether they're wild, whether they're, whether right down the pipe with their punches, technical strikers, everything, You got to fight different styles, karate, Muay Thai, BJJ, wrestlers, it's all you got to be used to everything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's kind of weird when I hear fighters say they don't watch film, and I kind of feel like it's a lie. Like I feel like if there is film available, why wouldn't you watch it?
I feel like there's guys that lie about it too. You know, they want to act like they don't need to study film. You know, which is kind of ignorant in my opinion. It would be stupid not to.
Yeah, definitely. That means 2019. We got YouTube.
I got nothing to hide myself. 'Cause I got like 60 videos of my show.
Yeah.
You got plenty to study on me, but at the end of the day, I don't care because I'm always working different stuff in the gym. I'm always training different stuff. You know, when I'm in the gym, I'm constantly learning, constantly growing. I'm never working the same things over and over.
Yeah, definitely. And going into your fight, you got it May 31st, CES 56. You're fighting Ryan Jett, who is 4-5. And how do you see this fight playing out?
Yeah, I'm not looking the guy over. He's 4-5, but he fought nothing but tough guys. You know, in his amateur career, he only had one loss as an amateur. So I know that he's going to be definitely my toughest opponent. Yeah, he has the most experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a winning opponent that I fought so far. So I'm going in there, calm, cool, collected, ready to get the job done. But I'm going to be definitely careful. He's got power in both hands. He's got snappable punches. At the end of the day, anybody can get knocked out. When you're in there, when you have 4-ounce gloves on, swinging at you, anything can happen. So I'm just going to do the same thing I've been doing. Going there, nice and relaxed, poised, and just do what I always do.
Yeah, definitely. How do you stay relaxed in a fight though?
I feel like at this point it's just experience.
Yeah.
I've been doing it so long that I really don't think I could be unrelaxed. When I go in there, I'm at home.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my second home. It's like kind of like the way I describe the gym as my home. When I'm in the cage, that's my home. I'm in there. That's where I live for that moment.
Definitely. Speaking of home, what's it going to feel like to fight even closer to home this time in Hartford?
It's going to feel great, man. I'm already selling tons of tickets. I know CES, you're going to be happy about that. I'm selling lots of tickets. Everybody's hitting me up. It's real cool, man. I prefer actually fighting a Mohegan Sun. Not to be mean, but Mohegan Sun's Mohegan Sun. You could go out to, people like going to the casino. There's so much to do at the casino. But it's going to be cool though to go to the Connecticut Convention Center. I believe it's only the second time that they've had it there so far. So it's going to be a cool experience.
Yeah, definitely. And for those who don't know, tell me what a training camp is like.
It's got a lot of goods, it's got a lot of bads. It's a training camp. It's a struggle, but at the end of the day, it pays off. I would say, it's just multiple training sessions. But a lot of what people don't understand, though, it's a lot of recovery too. It's ice baths, stretching, rolling out, massage, cryotherapy sessions, sauna, everything. You got to recover in between those sessions. It's like a rush, You're doing one thing to the next. It's busy. You're staying busy all throughout camp.
Yeah, definitely. What are your goals for 2019?
For 2019?
Yeah.
I would say Contender Series, man. Honestly, if I let's say I'm going to get this win, May 31st, then let's say I get another fight right after that. They offer me another fight, win that one. If they offer me one more, take that one, get another win. I'm sure UFC is going to be knocking on my door for a Contender Series shot, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be dope.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That's really what I'm looking for.
Definitely. All right, so you ready for some fun questions? They're going to go from average to savage.
Cool, brother. Hit me with them.
What's your playlist like when you're training?
My playlist?
Yeah.
It's basically a mix of rap and hip-hop, I would say, when I'm training, because, I don't know, some hip-hop or rap gets me hyped up to train.
Yeah.
You might have a little bit of some A-Lib in there. I might throw a little bit of Kendrick.
Okay.
A little bit of everything, man. I appreciate a lot of rap and hip-hop.
Yeah, for sure. Who was your favorite fighter growing up?
I would say GSP. Either GSP or Fedor, man. Fedor was he was like the MMA god to me when I was little. I would watch him and I'd be like, damn, this Russian motherfucker is knocking everybody out and submitting everybody. I used to watch him and I was just, I don't know, I wanted to be like Fedor when I was a little kid. My dad used to really like Fedor's style too because he was Sambo.
Yeah.
I appreciated that he was like a different style. All the guys back then were all Muay Thai, BJJ, and you got this guy from Russia who's coming in. But I always appreciated GSP too, because GSP was always a technical striker, and he could wrestle. He learned how to wrestle, After I believe he lost the fight, and then he learned how to wrestle after that. So I always appreciated both of those fighters. I'd say the most.
Gotcha. Those are two good ones. What do you like to do in your free time when you're not training?
Well, I'm not training. I really like hiking. I like the outdoors, man. I appreciate the outdoors. I like to draw. I'm actually a lot of people don't know, but I like art. Ever since I was growing up, actually my family thought I was probably going to become an artist because I was drawing like all the time when I was little. I took art classes and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's dope.
I just kind of keep on the low because I'm always training now. I'm training 24/7, so that's kind of my life now.
Gotcha. Who's one guy that you'd want to fight, dead or alive?
One guy I want to fight, dead or alive. I never thought of that. I don't know. That's a hard question. I don't really want to fight anybody. It's just, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I don't ever go, damn, I want to fight that guy.
All right. Well, let's say, would you want to train with like GSP?
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely go train with GSP. Actually, my boy Steve, he used to hang out with us. We were trying to go up for 1 year, but we never ended up following through with it and going to do it. But I would definitely go train with GSP. That'd be sick.
Gotcha. And last one, would you rather give up MMA or have $1 million?
Rather give up MMA or have $1 million? I would say I wouldn't give up MMA for $1 million, to be honest, because I know, down the line, even though MMA fighters doesn't seem like they make that much, down the line, though, you really do, make pay. If you're winning fights all the time, if you win a UFC championship, Bellator championship, you're rolling in some dough. So I would say I would stick with MMA over $1 million.
For sure. That's what I figured your answer was going to be. I had to test you.
Yeah, I got to be the lotto, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, well, I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you calling.